India, a country where we celebrate all our festivals with great pomp and show. But the next day is a different story altogether. While all our celebrations are in good spirit, but the waste created through these festivals is left to our mother nature. Fortunately, there was one person who thought that we can keep on celebrating our festivals without being a burden on the environment. She started a venture called Gift Green and started selling products like soil and seed modaks, plantable flags, and plantable rangolis. All these products could be sowed in soil and they would give birth to a new life. Namaste. Welcome to Positive Planet, a podcast focused on amplifying solutions and ideas that create a better world. Today we have with us Ms. Mansi Shah, the founder of Gift Green. A researcher by qualification, Mansi propagates a low waste lifestyle through the workshops that she conducts and the products that she sells through Gift Green. Today we understand from her her journey, her business, and about the low waste lifestyle that she promotes. So, let's begin. Hello, Mansi. Nice to see you here. Welcome.
Hi, Vedant.
Okay, so without much ado, let's begin with our session. I have to understand a lot of interesting things from you. So I will start with the first question, where from your journey, where it all started. You said your journey started from customized hand painted potted plants, and now you're selling products that are natural substitute to the daily use items that we use in our house. So what was the trigger point in between, or maybe some data, something, some storyline that happened, which made you do this transition?
So basically, when I started with potted plants, the whole idea was that even if someone wants to give a plant to each other, like we could do it happy birthday or anniversary and all. But then the idea was that when people started ordering from outside of Mumbai, and I didn't want to send a plant outside Mumbai because it's a lot of stress for a plant, like packing it, and it's a live thing that you're sending.
Of course.
you know so that's when I started making soil and seed modaks. I thought that if I embed seeds in a soil modak, that can be like transported all over the country, and everybody can have access to it, and it can still grow a plant. So that's when I moved from the potted plants to making soil and seed modaks. And then, as and when, like as I started seeing like things around that needed, that could be switched, from the conventional ideas to something more eco-friendly and less polluting. As and when I started seeing things, I was like, okay, ye bhi kar sakte, we can change this also. Then it was the seeded flags,
Yeah.
because after Ganpati, like we had Independence Day, and I was like, no, there shouldn't be wastage of any flags, so we made plantable flags. So I think it's been a learning thing, as and when I see that there is a need, or something which could actually be used as an alternative. But also the idea was that har ek cheez ka alternative you shouldn't have. Like for example, if I'm using a steel tongue cleaner, for example, then I don't need to exchange or switch that with a bamboo tongue cleaner,
Correct.
because that is not the need. Like
Yeah.
a steel or a brass tongue cleaner will last you for years and years to go. So I was just more specific to the things which actually would need an alternative. So yeah, that's how it's been. And now we have multiple products, like like cleaners, like home cleaners, personal care,
Yeah.
upcycle products, things like that.
Lot of it. Yeah, talking of your plantable category, this is actually very innovative. I don't know if someone thought of this. So, even when you thought, ki, okay, you can make a soil and seed modak, how did you come across this idea? What was this something that you knew already, or where did this idea come from? That everything, at least three products I know from your website, which is the modaks, the rangolis. Rangolis was an astonishing one, and the flags, which you
Yes.
can plant in. How do this work?
So first, those were the first three main products of Gift Green, and tab tak to till we had modaks, Gift Green was not even formed. It was later when we started having modak orders. So the idea was basically like during Ganpati, we would get a lot of gifting things, and
Yeah.
it would all be like cling wrapped,
Hmm.
and the basket would be plastic. And okay, the basket can still be used, but the cling wrap, the wrapping paper, and all was such a waste. And I said, what are we doing, in the name of gifting? We're like, there's so much peer pressure that we have to gift this, gifting karna hai, but we're not being thoughtful. We're not even thinking of the things that go into a gift. Uska afterlife we are not thinking about. And even the products which we're using sometimes, we're just doing it because everyone is doing it. So I was like, no, there has to be a thought behind every gift. It has to be something which is remembered, which the person who gets the gift thinks that, okay, that person thought of me, and the person, actually like put in some nice mindful thoughts. That's when the modaks, and then Diwali time rangoli like I was like, what, like, okay, we pehle ke zamane mein to we used to use rice,
Hmm.
pulses, salt,
Yeah.
all of that is rangoli. But now you see like so much plastic rangoli out there.
Okay.
The good part is that people still reuse the plastic rangoli, but there a lot of people use stickers,
Correct.
then they just peel it off and then they discard it. So we actually, like, I got like molds made out of the rangoli shapes, like,
Hmm.
our paisley shape, like the keri,
Yeah.
or like rounds and all, and we started making that with soil and seeds. So you basically had to peel off
Hmm.
the lining,
Yeah.
and you could actually plant the entire rangoli in a pot because it had seeds. Each piece had different seeds, like
Oh.
tomato in one piece, tulsi in one piece, chili in one piece. So you could actually have a small kitchen garden. That was the whole idea.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then the plantable flags, like, we decided that the plantable flags like will be small ones which you can wear. And
Okay.
the motto behind that was, don't throw me, grow me.
Okay. Yeah.
Because every like 26 Jan or 15 August, we are all like, we have the flags, and
Yeah.
we put it in the cars, and it signals you're getting like,
Plastic ones
flags
and
and
all that.
everything. Yeah, but after a point, you sometimes you literally see them on the floor, like
Definitely.
in the same signal you got the flags, you literally see them discarded. So that's why we used vegetable ink,
Okay.
like three colors of vegetable ink to print plantable paper. And the seeds in the paper were basically small seeds which can actually be like pressed in paper. You cannot have big seeds because they can get crushed while
Definitely.
making the handmade
Yeah.
paper.
Hmm.
So we had tulsi, tomato, chili, like flat, like flower
Yeah.
seeds,
Yeah.
mostly which are flat,
Hmm.
and small. And then we would like do screen printing with vegetable ink. And then from the flag we did more seed paper products. So on, like we were learning, right? Every day is a learning process. So then we made visiting cards, wedding cards,
Yeah.
and things like that.
That's great. Great. I think that's one brilliant idea. So you talked of further increasing categories and all, and now when I open your page, a lot of categories. I think more than 15, 16 categories are there. So, well, unfortunately, I can't ask you about each and every one of them. I still want you to tell me which is your most selling category and why do you think that is the most selling one, and similarly the least selling one and why it is not picking up the pace.
Uh, I think the most selling one has been like the personal care products
Okay.
and the upcycle products. Because what happens in the personal care products, people are noticing and they're appreciating the fact that it's made in small batches. And sometimes when we don't have it, we tell them that by next week we'll make a new batch. And every time we make a new batch, we put it on our stories that we made a new batch. So if anybody wants it, because we make limited stuff. And the good part is that when you follow a low waste lifestyle yourself, you realize that you don't need, tens and thousands of beauty care products for your body. You need like minimal, good quality products for your skin, your hair, like overall for your personal care, like even soap, shampoo. So I think that's been one of the very good best selling categories. And the upcycled products, because like whatever followers we have or whoever has been buying from Gift Green, they know that there's so much effort and hard work that we put into upcycling products. And we make products which can be used by everybody, like be it a small kid who wants to use a fanny pack or a backpack,
Yeah.
or if you're somebody who likes to use their own vegetable bag.
Yeah.
So everybody is covered in this, even the decorations. So I think these two have been our best selling category till now. I think like low least selling would be products which we don't manufacture on our own. I've noticed, because now there are a lot of people selling it. So for example, if it's a bamboo brush or a
Hmm.
neem comb maybe,
Okay.
These things are available now, like easily, even on Amazon you're getting them.
Okay. Okay. Got it. You mentioned the upcycled products category. As far as I know, this is like waste that is left out by other industries. You use the same to make your products, which is generally what upcycling means. But
Correct.
what I see from the past, you've been in this business for around 8 years. Uh, I believe that consumers are slowly becoming eco-conscious. Do you think that people are shifting towards upcycled products, or you are having consumers who are more eco-conscious? Have you received any such feedback?
Yeah, so I've noticed that nowadays people are more aware
Hmm.
compared to what it was like, a few years back. Now they are more like informed because thanks to the internet and Instagram and Google, YouTube, everything. So now they're looking for options. Now if they know that you can buy a backpack which is mass produced, you don't know by whom and where, and even if it's a fair trade happening or no, then they're looking for options that where can I buy something upcycled, you know so your purpose is to buy a backpack, and why not choose something which is more eco-friendly and made out of waste. And every time something which is made out of waste doesn't look like it's made out of waste, you can make it look nice, you can make it look fancy also, not in all cases obviously, but yeah, many times. So I think now customers are conscious that if I want to buy this product, then first let me look for you know upcycled or recycled alternatives, or even like products made out of wrappers, like plastic wrappers, even
Yeah.
those are very sturdy. So if you had to buy a backpack, for example, might as well buy something which you're giving a second life to the product or second life to the waste things.
Yeah.
So I think they're becoming more aware, like that's a good part actually.
Okay. Can you share a little bit about how the whole upcycled process works? Like, which waste is used, and what is made out of that?
Sure. So there are two types of like people we get the waste from. One is like a manufacturing tailoring unit. For example, they make shirts and pants for men.
Okay.
Okay. Now, like when you get the pieces, they cut out the part which they need to stitch. But
Correct.
a lot of the part, like the corners,
Hmm.
which they'll discard. And a lot of times, like all this was happening like right outside our office. So we had seen like heaps and heaps, like of this waste being discarded. And I would tell them, "What are you gonna do with this?" He's like, "All this is kachra. We don't need it." I told them like, "Can you just give me one bag and I want to like start, doing it." Because for Gift Green, we would do in-house like making pouches or bags to give things to our customers in that.
Yeah.
But I never thought of making things on a larger scale.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, if I'm already doing small scale upcycling for my
Hmm.
brand and for the products we send the things in, why not like take this bigger batch and start doing it? And the second category is like these testing laboratories, which actually get the garments are made like
Hmm.
by a lot of these fashion brands that we know, and
Okay.
they are given there for quality control. So for example, the t-shirt you're wearing,
Hmm.
but a patch of the t-shirt will be cut off and that will be tested for
Okay.
the quality control, but the entire t-shirt will be then discarded because obviously it's a patch cut out from the center, nobody can use it. So these are not worn clothes, but they're fresh clothes which are actually tested in the laboratory.
Okay.
So the last time we picked up that waste was almost 550 kgs,
Okay.
which we had to then sit and segregate, like t-shirt material, cottons.
Okay.
There's also synthetic like polyester, the dry
Mixed.
fit materials,
Yeah.
which we make the wet bags out of.
Okay.
So depending on the material, we decide what products can be made. If it's too colorful and printed, we make buntings out of it. If it is the dry fit material, then we make wet bags. If it's very thick, sturdy cotton, then we make fanny packs and backpacks, depending on what we get. So
Okay.
that's how the whole upcycling process works. And we hire like there is a small women organization we work with.
Hmm.
She's hired a lot of women in her local like socio-economic background. And the good part is that they're very keen to learn. They will not be like, no, I want 1 meter ka kapda and only then I'll stitch. You give them four pieces like of small pieces and they're happy to explore, and they're like, okay, can we make this? So I think such people actually mm, don't make it boring.
They are
They
innovative
make it
in their approach of manufacturing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because for them also waste is not something, it's not wasteful. Because they have been seeing all of this, right?
Yeah.
Like how a sari can be turned into a blanket or a godri.
Yeah.
So when they see all this waste kapda, they don't think it's kachra or waste. They're like, oh, okay, we can make small pouches, we can make big pouches, you know. So you want such people, like, it's not a middle class or a lower thing,
Yeah,
to
yeah, of course.
upcycle or
No,
wear.
no, no
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think such people also take good interest in making the products.
Okay.
I felt that.
And who are the, for example, the fanny packs or pouches you said, who are the major consumers of this? Like, do you have corporate orders or
So
something?
the no, we don't do corporate orders for upcycled products until unless it's like the same design. Like we can do tote bags, okay,
Okay.
because the sizing and the branding is easier. But for
Okay.
fanny packs and all, we have limited cloth. So
Okay.
max at one shot, we make like 50 bags. And if someone is okay to have all the 50 bags separate, like different,
Hmm.
then nothing like it. So what happens with corporate orders, we make tote bags. So
Hmm.
each tote bag will be different colored, but
Yeah.
on the tote bag the branding will be standard for the
For the
corporate.
yeah.
So yeah, so if they have a pouch, like we worked for luxury brands where the pouch is different, like each, like
Hmm.
500 pouches are different because they're upcycled, but they all have the
Hmm.
same branding. So the so it that's how we work for corporates. If they're okay with using, upcycled products.
Yeah, but, I'm
Yeah.
guessing you ensure that you won't overproduce just so that you
Yes.
the waste is produced again. I think that's your
Yeah, yeah,
point.
like
Yeah.
that's the idea,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, things which are made in bulk, like I know if they're factory made, like neem combs, bamboo brushes, or we have the grow it yourself kit. I'm more than happy to pitch that to a corporate who wants it in bulk.
Hmm. And one more question as a follow up to what you said. So you said these are women who are living in probably chawls or some certain areas. I believe this would have given them a good source of income. Do you know of any story of how what was the earlier situation and how probably it has been better now?
So I'll speak about somebody who I normally share also about on Instagram.
Hmm.
So she's like a 65 plus old lady.
Okay.
So like she has started stitching with us for the past 2 years now,
Okay.
and she does great work, like our bottle holders, veggie pouches, like the veggie bags, everything it's on her. Like she's the superstar behind it. And now she was telling me that now she, like, the household groceries of her house, for the year she fills in, like, the chawal and the
Okay.
gehu and whatever groceries she has to bring. And I do like bank transfers. I made her open an account. I said, no, I'll send it in your bank. She's like, yeah, let me do that because then cash will get spent and all.
Obviously. Yeah.
So now she's telling me that, and then she takes her like grandchild to classes. She's like, I made him join skating classes and all. And she's like, and when there is less work, like in the middle, like, while I was shifting her, she's like, why aren't we doing anything, like, I think it's helped her a lot, even to be like, it's given her a lot of confidence because she can do so many things, like now she's even like financially more independent. And
Definitely.
she, like, even her stitching skills have improved a lot,
Of
because
course.
now she knows that it's going to customers,
Hmm.
that somebody is going to be using the product. So now she's like, no, no, abhi barabar karna hai, now everything has to be done properly.
Yeah.
So I think it helps. It's helped a lot. I think so.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
hoping.
no, no. I
Yeah.
I definitely think because people adopting the new practices. Opening a bank account is also a big deal for many households today in India. And hats
Actually,
off to your work, obviously, because after being sustainable, you're also promoting someone's livelihood. That's a really good thing. Uh,
thank
you
you.
have been talking about low waste lifestyle for a long time. Low waste is something you're doing, and you've mentioned on your website that you take a low waste living workshop. So, what do you do in this workshop? What do you teach? What's the idea behind it?
So basically, when I started living a low waste lifestyle, there was not much info. Okay, so when I wanted to compost my waste at home, also there would be maggots, and it would start rotting, and wet waste, wet and dry ka balance wouldn't
Yeah.
be there. And then we learned, like, slowly, slowly. My mom and everyone, we were like trying to figure it out. So now, after, like, going through it for so many years now, now I know that how to do composting, the right way. It's not perfect. There's still like goof ups happening,
Yeah.
but I wanted to make sure that the things I'm learning out of experience, I can share it with other people. So with another colleague, like a low waste member,
Mm.
like, there's a zero waste Mumbai community
Okay.
where we as a community meet every month, and then we talk about all the problems that we are facing, or we thrift clothes, for example, and we share things. So one of the founding members from there, and we started workshops which called Hum Prithvi Se.
Okay.
Basically, like, yeah, so under that we do workshops on composting. There are topics like, personal hair care, body care, because I understand that we make things and we're selling it, but what if somebody wants to become self sufficient and make these products for themselves?
Okay.
Like when the body butter or the deo, I started making it myself. I, using it and then sharing with friends and family, and then it became a product on Gift Green. You know,
Okay.
so if somebody wants to do that, wants to make their own products, so we help them with the workshops. Then there are topics like gardening, natural pesticides and insecticides. Like if you're good at gardening but you're not, able to take care of the plants because of pests, we have workshops for that. We have sustainable menstruation workshops,
Okay.
you know so educating people how to be more sustainable with the menstruation cycle, and it's for everybody. We don't only invite women, we invite, like, it's like open to all genders.
Yeah.
So like that, we have like multiple workshops. Then there's a workshop called hidden plastics,
Okay.
like greenwashing and hidden plastics, because
Interesting.
what is happening, like, this was a new topic because there's so many brands and products coming out now that consumers are getting confused as to what to choose.
Correct.
They actually don't know. Like, they would think a paper cup is paper, right? It's sustainable, but it's not. It's lined with
It's fine.
plastic, which we're actually drinking.
Yeah.
So like, we do that in schools, colleges, corporates, even individual workshops, and people are shocked to know that there's so many things which actually have plastic, but we don't know. So there's literally a hidden plastics like workshop which we actually talk about for 2 hours. So that was the whole idea, that if you're living a low waste lifestyle, and if you can help somebody, because a lot of people want to do it but they don't know where to start.
Hmm.
So then we start with basics, segregation of waste, like
Okay.
segregate the plastics which come into your house,
Right.
like the wrappers, peanut wash it, the paper, cardboard boxes. So that's how the whole workshop series has started.
That's a good one.
Yes. Thank you.
Uh, okay. Uh, so your vision, as per the low waste lifestyle about gift green and all, is to reduce waste in people's lives, in day-to-day lives. And what I see about the whole waste problem in general is there are two sides to it. One is the one that is generated. We can recycle it, reuse it from landfills, from whatever is going out of your house. And the second is you stop it at the source. You stop it from getting generated that much. uh, in such a scenario, who do you think is should be taking the lead to solve this problem?
See, some things like which go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, if I want to be a conscious consumer, then I should have conscious choices. Okay, back in the time, like our grandparents, okay, they had conscious choices. Even that time, there were not many products to choose from. Even if it was Colgate, for example,
Hmm.
they had like powder, they had tin containers,
Yeah.
and the tubes were made out of like aluminium, which could
Yeah.
be recycled. But now when you look at the present time,
Hmm.
even if you want to be a conscious consumer, there are not many options out there.
Yeah.
Like, now there are so many sustainable brands to choose from, but if you still want to go for the price, like the pricing or the packaging and all, you'll still be stuck somewhere, right? So the thing is, as a consumer, what am I bringing into my house? If I need, like, my toiletries, am I making a wise decision of choosing where it's coming from? If you just sit on Instagram, you'll get like 40 good eco-friendly brands who are giving you good sustainable products. If you're even if you cannot buy package free, if you're buying things in plastic packaging, because not everywhere packaging free options are available. Like, pehle kirana dukans, you have to go and take your own groceries,
Yeah.
but now they're very limited options. So even if you're bringing that at home,
Hmm.
make sure you segregate it at source.
Exactly. Hmm.
Because then every time, you can't blame the safai karmcharis and your municipal corporation to sit and segregate it, because they cannot handle the population that we have.
Of course.
It's not going hand in hand. The
Yeah.
imbalance happens. Like, the whole point of sustainability is that there is, like, the balance should be there in what you need and what you want, right?
Correct.
And that's not happening.
Yeah.
So I think it is also your personal thing. Like, you think, अरे मैं प्लास्टिक स्ट्रॉ नहीं यूज करूंगा तो क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? बहुत फर्क पड़ेगा.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm having coconut water every day or every second day.
Yeah.
So I think, as an individual, you cannot run away from your responsibilities. First you need to do what you're doing. If you're not composting your waste at home and then you're complaining about, floods and like landfill
Yeah.
problems, then what are you doing, so I think sometimes what happens with us is we have a lot of excuses,
Hmm.
and then when we are out of excuses we start blaming corporations.
Yeah.
So the government and corporations, they are also like, not doing what they're supposed to do, but
Hmm.
also as individuals I think we need to do our bit.
Okay.
like
Everyone has
like
to
the both.
go hand in hand. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. It can't be like one pulling the other. It has to
Yeah.
be like walking together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I think as individuals, at least do your part,
Hmm.
like do whatever you can as individuals. Don't say, अरे government कुछ नहीं कर रहा तो मैं नहीं कर सकता. I know, but still तुम कुछ तो करो, like whatever you can do.
Definitely. Yeah. That's a good advice. Okay. On to my final question, which is slightly a fun one. So, if I make you available a hefty sum of a very, very large sum amount, maybe $1 billion, $100 billion, something of that sort, with the only caveat that you have to solve some problem related to climate change or sustainability. So, what would be the problem that you choose and why?
Okay. Thank you for so much money. I would love that. I think at Give Green, itna paisa I won't be able to earn. But yeah, I think if I had that much money, I would actually buy land,
Okay.
like lots of land,
Yeah.
and not let anyone use it,
Okay.
like build forests,
Okay.
or like I don't want people to go there. Like I don't want, like if I had that much money, I would actually buy pieces of big, big chunks of land, and yeah, like grow forests or let it just be wild and let it flourish,
Carbon sinks.
because the thing is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like just, yeah, carbon, because now the thing is everywhere you see, like now also after shifting to Surat, I'm seeing a lot of these farms are being sold. Obviously this building itself must be on a farm,
Somewhere,
you
maybe. Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're just selling it off and like leaving, and I'm like, no, even this will be concrete,
Hmm.
and that's the problem. Everything is so concretized that water doesn't seep in.
Yeah.
That's why the ground is burning hot if you walk,
Of course.
in the day.
Yeah.
So I want like all the water which we get from, like,
Rain and
mother
all.
nature to go like seep into the earth and cool it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and do a lot of rainwater harvesting, because people think that rainwater harvesting le bahut paisa lagta hai, ye lagta hai. I'll give them the money you give me and tell them tum karo, like use that money. Yeah, yeah, and the rest I'll give it to other entrepreneurs, you know like me, who started like very bootstrap, and if they can use that money
Yeah.
to like make something. Yeah, both I can divide it into 3 4 parts.
Okay, that was a brilliant answer, and unfortunately, we are almost out of time. As much as I want to keep on continuing with our chat, we'll have to stop at this moment. So, Mansi, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for giving your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Vedan.
Okay, so we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening to the episode. Please let me know your feedback and do share it with someone who might like it and is hopefully inspired by it. Positive Planet is dedicated to amplifying ideas and solutions that create a better world. So, if you know of any such idea that I should cover, please let me know in the comments or ping me on Instagram. The links are in the description. Most importantly, if we want to make this planet a positive one, we must stay together. So please be a part of the Positive Planet community and subscribe to this podcast. Thanks. See you soon.